Hi, everybody. My name's Kelly Pigeon. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dresst. Just a little bit of background on me. So I spent about 10 years with Johnson & Johnson working in consumer packaged goods. The first 8 of those years was in Canada, so I'm very familiar with the retail landscape here. 2 of those years were working on a global team out of New York, where I was responsible for what the brand looked like in Brazil and Japan and the US. And so that really gave me sort of a broader, more global view of where consumer goods are going, where retail is going. And as part of that sort of broader macro view, it became clearer and clearer to me that it's these direct-to-consumer disruptive companies that are really eating up a lot of the growth and a lot of the profitability. And so I thought that would be fun to do. And so my partner Laura and I started Dresst. So with Dresst, it's basically your closet in the cloud. The way it works is you choose any 3 items from our closet, wear them as your own for the month, and then get 3 new pieces the following month. You can kind of think of it as the smartest closet you've ever had. It takes up no space, does all your dry cleaning, and takes up no room and has whatever you want for it to have. And everything I'm wearing, obviously, is from Dresst. And Dresst is kind of part of this broader trend that I was seeing around the lack of a need for owning stuff. We don't need as much stuff anymore. It's about accessing it and enjoying the thing. You don't necessarily have to have it full time. So I call my presentation, no ownership, no problem. And if you think about why this is happening, if you think about why this is happening, you got to start with the consumer, right? So what is the consumer's value and how has that evolved generation after generation? There was a time when it was really important to have stuff. It represented milestones. It represented your level of success and your status. What kind of car do you have? How big's your house? But today, we're kind of skipping them all for carpe diem. We're renting our condo in the city, and that's not limiting, that's freeing. So what? What does that mean for retail? Just a few examples of how this has totally changed the way that we consume. So think of board games back in the day. Today, we have escape rooms, live experience. Used to go for running, solo, headphones in. Now we have these novelty races like a Tough Mudder, so on. Going to a bar, even that's kind of been experience-sized into more themed bar crawl type of experiences. And when you combine this consumer trend with the technology and how that has really changed the industry also, all of these new companies have really, really exploded. Technology allows us to connect unused resources to those who need them, so it eliminates waste, right? So think of Zipcar. If you have a car, it's probably sitting in your garage for 22 hours out of the day. If you're only using it for 2 hours of the day, why don't you just have it for 2 hours of the day? You don't need to own it in order to get the value from it. So why are experiences so much more important than stuff now? It's because that is what delivers joy. It's what makes you happy, right? When you think of these 3 elements of why it's important, so it's more joy, it's more shareable, it's more social, and you can build a community. It's those connections between people that's really important too. And so these are the 3 things that I would challenge you to think through as you think about how your brand or how your business can create that experience. I'll give you a few examples of how each of these have come to life. So with Dresst, it's honestly really blown me away how people have responded to this kind of a service. We get handwritten notes. We get posts on Instagram constantly saying how much they love feeling bomb all the time and they have something new to wear, but they're not harming the environment. They're not wearing something a few times and then tossing it. So really, really good example of how you can experience a thing, even clothes, which is probably not the first thing you think of, without having to have it. I think Toronto Life has done a really good job of creating shareable experiences. So going from a magazine, again, a thing that you have, to bringing that authority on what's cool, what's happening in the city to life. with their Toronto Life Insider Club. So speakers and events and tastings and so on, bringing that authority to actual live experiences. I think the community aspect, I think the fitness world has done this really, really well. Think of CrossFit, think of Peloton and so on. So there's a really, really important element of this community feel also. So summarize 3 things to think about as you think about what your brand's experience will look like or should look like. So is there a way for your consumer to have a joyful experience with your brand, maybe even without having to buy stuff? How are you creating a shareable experience? And 3, how are you building a community through shared experiences? Thank you very much.